Assalamualaikum. My name is Reka Masyita binti Sabidin. I am from LCCI DIA Level 1. Today, my friend and I would like to talk about MCO. What is MCO? Movement Control Order (MCO) is referred to as partial lockdown, signifies a major step taken by the Malaysian government to contain the COVID-19 pandemic. COVID-19 pandemic was first detected in Malaysia on 25 January 2020 among 3 Chinese citizens who entered Malaysia through Singapore on 23 January 2020. Up to 30 April, the daily new cases crossed the 200 mark only 4 times. Nonetheless, the active cases have been consistently lower than the total case as infected individuals recovered from COVID-19 pandemic. The COVID-19 cases in Malaysia was added day by day, and this additional number of cases make the government to get some action to take. On 16 March 2020, 125 new cases was reported positive COVID-19 and make the cumulative cases increase to 553 cases. And 95 of the 125 new cases was associated with the Tabligh Assembly cluster at the Seri Petaling Mosque. The Tabligh Assembly cluster was the first one of the big wave of COVID-19 that infect Malaysian people. Within the increase in the number of new COVID cases, the government made a decision to the country to stay at home and stay safe from the COVID-19 pandemic. Malaysian Prime Minister, which is Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin, made an official speech on 16 March 2020 and officially promulgated the Movement Control Order under the Prevention and Control of Infectious Disease Act 1988 and the Police Act 1967. The MCO in Malaysia was started on 18 March 2020 until 31 December 2020 with the different phase of MCO. The MCO was implemented 14 days at the first phase and continued based on the amount of people that infected by the COVID-19 pandemic. The MCO was enforced across all of the country in Malaysia. Since the MCO was started, here is the new norm that all of the Malaysian people should follow. The first one is complete restriction of movement and assembly nationwide, a complete travel restriction for all Malaysians going overseas, a complete restriction of foreign visitors and tourists into Malaysia, closure of all kindergarten, public and private school, closure of all government and private premises, closure of all public and private institutions. Okay, next. How COVID-19 spread? The first one, COVID-19 spread very easily. Coughing and sneezing by individuals with COVID-19 symptoms. Second, contact with individuals with COVID-19 symptoms. And lastly, touching the surface that have been contaminated with COVID-19 virus. Looking for the how the COVID-19 spread, the Malaysian government take a good and effective way on how to overcome with the COVID-19 pandemic. The MCO action was really help in reducing the COVID-19 cases. This is because the contact with other people to another people is getting less and the risk of infection is reduced. Malaysian government also received worldwide appreciation and recognition, especially China, which is the location of the outbreak. The news portal, Chinese global TV network, not only praised but also recognized the Director General of Health, Datuk Dr. Nur Hisham Abdullah, as a world-leading medical expert. So by that, MCO was really succeed to overcome the increased amount of infected COVID-19 pandemic. Malaysia was already in the final stage on the MCO, but the second biggest wave of COVID-19 was started again in Malaysia on 19 November 2020. In our country may be continued until next year. Together we fight COVID-19 to end this MCO and do daily activity as usual. Thank you.
Hi and Assalamualaikum. My name is Atika Shalini Ramadan. I will talk about method and pace of execution of Movement Control Order that we call MCO. Number one about method is prohibition of movement and mass assembly nationwide. Second, all religious activity in mosques suspended including Friday prayers. Number 3, Malaysia barred from leaving the country and restriction placed on the entry of non-Malaysian into the country. Number 4, all industry closed except from infrastructure service and supermarket. The infrastructure service is like motor vehicle and others. The last one is all nursery, government and private school is closed. The method, we will continue with the conditional movement control order that we call CMCO or other name is PKPB. On May 1, Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin, in his special speech in conjunction with Labour Day, introduced the conditional movement control order, which is a relaxation of charter MCO condition to reopen the country's economy in a controlled manner, scheduled from 4 May. New conditions in PKPB include: Number 1, almost all sector and economic activity allowed to operate while paying attention to the standard operating procedure, that is SOP. Number 2, sport activity involving large gathering, body contact, and other risks of infection are not allowed, include all indoor the stadium sport event. Number 3, social event, community and culture that involve large gathering and all type of event and formal gathering are not allowed. Last one, interstate travel including behind the village is not permitted except for work purpose. After the conditional, we will continue with recovery movement control order that we call RMCO. So, on 7 June 2020, the Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin has announced that on 10 June, the conditional movement control order that we know right now is CMCO will be replaced with the recovery movement control order right now is RMCO or other name is PKPP, which is the recovery phase from the implementation of MCO and CMCO starting on 10 June until 31 December 2020. After the conditional, we will continue with recovery movement control order that we call RMCO. So, on 7 June 2020, the Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin has announced that on 10 June, the conditional movement control order that we know right now is CMCO will be replaced with the recovery movement control order right now is RMCO or other name is PKPP, which is the recovery phase from the implementation of MCO and CMCO starting on 10 June until 31 December 2020. Next point that I will share with you guys is Tactinat movement control order that we know right now is the MCO or other name is PKPD. You guys know what is PKPD name? PKPD name is Perintah Kawalan Pergerakan Diperketatkan. Beginning March 27, theatre areas in Malaysia are subject to a strict order called the Technical Movement Control Order, basic the MCO, or the name is PKPD, for 14 days. If large groups are detected in the area, so that the government can conduct a true COVID-19 test on all residents and to curb the spread of pandemic outside the area. The other include number 1. All residents and visitors in the area is prohibited out of their home during the order. Number 2. Non-residents and visitors from outside are not allowed in the area that are subject to the order. Number 3. All business closed. Number 4. Sufficient food supply will be provided by the authorities for the 14 days for all the residents. Number 5. Medical beds will be established in the area. Last one, all roads to the area are blocked. So that's all for me. So I will pass to my partner. That's all. Thank you.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Nur Shazrina binti Safar. I would like to share about impact movement control order in Malaysia.
So, we look at these slides. It is have 3 impact of movement control order. So, firstly, impact to the business. Secondly, impact to education of student. And thirdly, impact to the family. Divided into 2 parts, namely is positive and negative impact. For positive into the business is the government allowed the deferral of the payment. Second, the government provides subsidy. So here, I will show example about how some company get the subsidy. In this table, amount of subsidy is given to company according the size of enterprise. We look at the first table. If in that company have 75 employees or fewer, they will get RM 1,200 per employee per month. Second table, 76 to 200 employees, they will get RM 800 per employee per month. And lastly, 201 employees and above, they will get RM 600 per employee per month. Next, impacts of negative. First, separate hard loose. The description is because most of customers are encouraged to buy in online, such as Foodpanda and Shopee. Second, unbalanced cash flow cause owner to be unable to pay site rent and employees' salary. Lastly, economy decrease. Companies that were temporarily closed during the previous MCO became saturated and did not thrive. Next slide, we have impact to education of student. For positive impact, student can learn new knowledge how to use technology very well. Second, provide free internet by the government. For negative impact, firstly, school closure. During the MCO periods, students had to study online using the Google Meet and Google Classroom application. Secondly, student not focus while the teacher is teaching. And lastly, student difficult to understand. The last slide is family impact. For positive impact, firstly, have a chance spending time with family to do some activity. Second, free time to teach their children how to cooking. For negative impact, first, divorce issues are on the rise because of emotional when stay at home for a long periods of time. Second, financial problem. As a result of MCO, parents had to be given unpaid leave and could not buy enough necessities. Lastly, cannot travel with family. All of outdoor activities are not allowed during MCO.
So now I will pass to the next presenter.
Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. My name is Nur Amira binti Rusli. I am from LCC IDI A1B Level 1. I am going to talk about the challenges and also the prevention tips. So first, let's start with the challenges. Okay, challenges number 1 is to the government. Various policies and also initiatives need to be planned, announced, and also to be implemented. Number 2 is challenges to the media officer. They basically need to fight and compete with those who spread fake news. Number 3 is challenges to the medical staff. They are willing to be at the forefront of treating the COVID-19 patients, even though they are aware that they are at risk of being infected. Number 4 is security authorities. So they control our movements, no matter what the circumstances at all, to ensure that everyone is safe at home. Number 5 is cleaning worker. So from health screening buildings to treatment center, hospital and clinic, public building, public transport and also public parks, everything was taken care by them carefully. Okay, so I have 3 points here. The first one is to make a hygiene habit. Everyone knows that this virus is seriously contagious, and proper hygiene habits are the only way we can mitigate the risk. Point number 2 is to maintain a healthy diet to keep your immune system balanced and ready to fight against infection and viruses. So, in this case, we are suggested to eat a lot of protein and antioxidants. So, protein is the building block of immune system. So, lack of protein can seriously hamper your immune function. Next is antioxidants. Purple cabbage, red bell pepper, and green beans are some of the examples for antioxidants. So, studies have shown that antioxidants improve immune responses. The last point is extra protection for the children, senior citizen, and for those who have chronic diseases. Okay, that's all for me. Thank you for watching this video. Bye!